everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you've never been here before. Hey! So in today's video we will be discussing the mysterious disappearance and death of Miya Marcano. So this case, it's not a lot of information that's out to the public, or it's just not a lot of information on the case in general. It's still currently under investigation, so it was like really hard for me to be able to find a lot, but from the information that I did find, it's actually pretty crazy. So if you want to know more about Miya Marcano and what happened to her, then keep on watching. So Miya Marcano was 19 years old. She's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but she lived in Orlando at the time. She attended Valencia College. She was actually really smart. Her professors literally described her as gifted. She graduated Flanagan High School back in summer of 2020, and in the midst of the pandemic and homeschooling and all the craziness that happened, she was still able to maintain a 4.0 GPA. She was actually really excited to start Valencia College in the fall and just start on her new journey. She was very family oriented and extremely loyal to her friends. Her family described her as funny, like extremely funny, and she was always happy. And I mean, based on her photos, like if you look at her photos, look at her social media, like you can literally see she always have the biggest smile on her face. Miya was last seen around 5 p.m. on Friday, September 24th at the Arden Villas apartment where she actually lives, and she works at the apartment as well in the leasing office. So the Arden Villa apartment is at the location basically in the college town. It's where Valencia College is that she attends, and it's also where University of Central Florida is. So it's in that same area, close proximity. So the apartment that she lived at and she worked at basically accommodate a lot of college students. She spoke with her father Friday morning before work, and then she told her father that she would call him back after work, but he didn't really hear from her. Miya is usually in very close contact with her friends and family throughout the day. She does have this one cousin that they literally text all day back and forth just to kind of like give updates about their day, or if there's something happening, like what's happening, like they text each other every morning and they just like text throughout the day. So her cousin sent her a message on Friday, like a message that Miya would usually respond to because it was supposed to be like basically like a funny inside joke. So she actually sent her that message Friday afternoon, and then she realized that Miya didn't text back. So at first she wasn't super alarmed because she's like, well, it is work hours, so she figuring that, you know, she's probably working. So Miya's cousin said that Miya's mom reached out to her to ask her, has she heard from Miya, because they're always texting back and forth. And then she was like, no, she actually haven't heard from her. And then her mom was like, she just feel like something is wrong. And then that's when her cousin actually became super alarmed. She's like, okay, well, yeah, if she feels like something is wrong, then something is definitely wrong.
That I was walking home. Typically I have my car, but we're down a car in our family, so I knew that she would think that was comical, because any type of thing that's out of the ordinary for me, she's just like, these things only ever happen to you. So I sent her a Snapchat because I was like, hey, look at me, I'm walking home from doing my nails. Have you ever seen this before? And she didn't answer. At that time, it was still when she should have been at work. So I didn't think it was that strange. I was like, maybe she's just busy at work, but I'll hear from her soon. And I didn't. So then I figured maybe she's just busy because it was Friday. She could have been planning to go out. She could have been doing anything. But then my aunt reached out and asked if I had heard from her. And she did let me know at that point that she was supposed to be flying home and she hadn't heard from her yet. So I said, okay. And we just started to kind of figure things out. But in that moment when my aunt called me, her voice was a little bit shaky. And she did say, she said, I think something's wrong. And we're a family that we have a lot of faith, and we're very spiritual. We believe in, you know, like feeling things. We trust our gut. And especially when it comes from an aunt, from a mom, from a grandmother. If we're going, oh, I'm going on a trip, and my grandma says, I had a bad dream, I'm not going on a trip anymore. It's canceled, because I know that that's like some type of bad vibe, bad energy. So when my aunt, she always has very strong feelings about a lot of things. Not only Miya, but she's very deeply connected to Miya. That's Miya's grandmother. They speak all day long. If she's not in constant communication with her dad, she's always talking to her grandma, to her mom, to her brother, to me. So when she told me that that's when I started to feel a little bit of a heaviness.
They follow up with other family members, and then they realize that no one has heard from Miya, which is definitely unusual and very out of character for her because she's usually communicating with her family all the time. So around 9:23 p.m. that same night, Mia's mom decided to call the police because she's like, something is wrong. So she wanted to call the police so the police can go to Mia's apartment to do a wellness check, to just check up on her to see what's going on. So the police, they actually did went to Mia's apartment. So they didn't find Miya at the apartment. So that same night, Miya actually had a flight to go back home to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, because as I said, she's currently living in Orlando for school, but since she's super family oriented, she just felt like she was missing out on a lot. She actually had a godson that turned 1 year old, and she just felt like she's missing out on him. She's missing out on her other family. And at first she tried to arrange for her family to come see her, but their schedule just wasn't going to work for all of them to be in Orlando at the same time. They all just agreed that it would just be a lot easier for Miya to just come home. So Miya actually had a flight that was booked that night around 10:30 p.m. So her mom actually still went to the airport because she's like, well, maybe she went on the flight, maybe her phone died. So her mom actually still went to the airport to go get her just in case. So when she got to the airport, she realized that Miya never came off the flight. So they got on the phones, they started calling the airlines to just check to see if she checked in for her flight. It was confirmed that she didn't even check in for her flight. So after that happened, Mia's family, they literally drove all the way from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando that same night. They did not waste any time. They weren't waiting for anything. They literally drove there immediately. So they got there around 3 a.m. So the route from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando is about 3.5 hours. So once Mia's family got to her apartment, Miya had a roommate, and the roommate let her in. And the roommate also let the family know that she hasn't heard from Miya neither. And she said that they did have plans to go out. It wasn't really confirmed, but they were making plans to go out that same night. Possibly she was going to hang out with her friends before catching the flight to go see her family. But her friend said that she hadn't heard from her at all. So her family went inside her room, and immediately her family actually figured that something was off. There's a necklace that Miya wears all the time, that one necklace that she has all the time. She never takes it off. And apparently that necklace was found on the ground. So the necklace didn't even look like it was taken off, it was broken. So it looks like it was yanked from her neck. And her bed was basically messy, and pillows were scattered, and a teddy bear that she apparently always carries around, it was just nowhere to be found. And her family knew that that was so weird because her room is always spotless. She's very neat, just very clean. So she would just never leave the house without making the bed or just have her room looking in disarray. And also another thing, there were also dirt trails, a dirt footprint in her room. And that was so weird because Miya never wears shoes in her room. So there was dirt on the carpet. So after the family saw that, they just knew that it was not good news. So at first, the police, they didn't necessarily search Mia's apartment at first because usually when you do report a missing person, they do like to wait about 48 to 72 hours before they do take it seriously, which is crazy because those first 48 hours are very, very crucial whenever a person go missing. And I know obviously sometimes people just go missing and then they come back, but most times they don't. So in this case, they didn't really take anything seriously. They didn't necessarily take the family seriously. They just thought that, she'll come back. At one point, they literally told the family that if she doesn't come back by Tuesday, then call us back. At this point, it's Saturday, basically Saturday morning. And you're telling us that if she doesn't come back by Tuesday, if you don't hear from her by Tuesday, then give us a call back. Are you kidding me? That's a whole 3 days that's gonna go by. So much can happen in 3 days. So Mia's family told police about this maintenance guy that lives at the building. The maintenance guy has been harassing her. She basically turned him down a few times because he's just been infatuated with her. And he's literally been sending her obsessive text messages, basically telling her that he'll give her his life savings. He apparently cashed up her money one time. At one point, she had told him to stop texting her, and then he had stopped texting, but then he started texting her again. So police started looking into the maintenance guy. So the maintenance guy, his name is Armando Caballero. He's 27 years old, and he started working at the apartment back in June. And ever since he started working there, like, he's literally has been obsessed with Miya, like obsessed with her. So at this point, police decided to name Armando a person of interest in the case because they feel like he may have something to do with Miya's disappearance. So when Miya's apartment was searched by authorities, they actually found that her apartment door was blocked off with a mini fridge. Her bedroom window was unlocked, and there was also a crack in the window. And they also discovered that there was blood on Miya's pillow. So the police, they decided to take a look at Miya's entrance log to her apartment. So on September 24th at around 4:34 p.m., it shows that the deadbolt to Miya's apartment was actually opened by the maintenance master key fob. And around 5:06 p.m., it shows that Miya used her key fob to open her door. So it looks like the maintenance guy actually went inside her apartment around 4:34 and waited for her to get off work, because at this point she would have still been working until around 5 p.m. So around 5:52 p.m., they actually saw the maintenance guy vehicle leaving the property. And then around 7:01 p.m., then the maintenance guy actually put in a fake maintenance request. I'm guessing to try to cover himself as to why he went into her apartment. I'm guessing the maintenance request would need to be there. So around 7:16 p.m., Miya's fob was actually used to unlock her apartment door, but no one went into the apartment. So it couldn't have been her roommate, because if it was her roommate, she would go into the apartment. But I'm guessing they just used the fob because they know that it's being recorded or it's being tracked. So it could just all be like a way for him to try to cover his tracks. So basically the door was unlocked, but nobody entered the apartment. So around 7:38 p.m., the maintenance guy actually left the apartment again because he had went back to the apartment after leaving. From 8:20 to 8:40 p.m., the maintenance guy phone pinged at the Timber Scan apartment complex where Miya's body would later be found. So later that night, or earlier the next morning, so around 3 a.m. Saturday morning, after the family got to Orlando and was looking through Miya's apartment, they actually ran into the maintenance guy. They actually ran into him. I don't know where he came from because he doesn't live at the apartment. So the fact that he just came there out of nowhere at 3 a.m. So they confronted him to ask him, what happened to her, because they felt like he did something to her.
Saw anything suspicious, but nobody knew what was going on. I didn't know this whole thing.
But no one knows Tati.
You keep mentioning Tati, and no one knows Tati.
And you get a call
The
all of a
roommates
sudden.
don't even know Tati.
You've been sleeping since
You
10
keep
o'clock,
saying
and all of a
Tati is
sudden
a
you're showing
friend.
up here at 4 o'clock in the morning
Because
looking
me
for
and
me.
Tati were conversating about it, so I finally, it came
Okay,
up.
but
Should I go
Tati
and
is
see if I
someone-
see anything?
No one knows Tati. That's my whole thing. Not
Tati
even the
is
roommate
an
knows
employee
Tati.
here. You
She's an employee, but you keep saying Tati is a friend and that you've all hung out together. No one here knows Tati. All her
Well,
other
not
friends
all
showed up. Her
these
closest
people.
friends that live in the complex were all here with us early on. No one knows Tati. Only you. Whoever Tati is, and Tati's on the phone, she shouldn't even be on the phone right now. As of right now, you have
work
sent
tomorrow- you work
obsessive
tomorrow,
texts to
Tati?
Miya. We have all seen the text. You talked about giving her your life savings. You cash out her money, and you claim that you weren't in touch.
Who told her gave
It's
her
on
life
text.
saving? I never
As a
said
matter of
that.
fact, we're going to get a police report to pull your phone records if that's the case.
What you have to do?
There's evidence of obsession, of something. You're fascinated with
It's
me.
not only from my side, so don't try to make this
No
like
one,
I'm a
no one's
stalker.
saying that. It takes
She's
two.
not here to defend
There's-
herself right now, so
obviously
we gotta
she's
talk to
missing.
you.
So we're talking to
And
you,
I
who's been
completely
going back and
respect
forth
that. I
on
understand
text.
that. That is your family.
Right.
But until we figure out what's going on, just don't beat me up.
Nobody
one's
ain't beating
beating
you
you
If
up.
I'm
up.
guilty, why
But you
would I
put
come
yourself in the middle right here. You brought yourself over here.
Because we're concerned.
You're concerned. Why weren't you concerned hours ago?
I just found out.
All right, cool, no problem.
So
In
how
the
did,
first
so
few
how did
hours,
Tati find out?
We didn't think it was serious. I don't even know how Tati found
Oh,
out.
somebody's
She told me
missing and you don't think it's serious.
Someone
Maybe they
that
hanging out. They got this place right here. They go downtown. I don't know. Maybe her phone's off. I don't know what she.
She would use somebody's phone and call her dad or her grandmother, somebody.
she was supposed to show up for a flight and didn't show up.
Not calling her father. And I didn't change it.
I can come back tomorrow. You come to my house.
Officer, can I ask you a question?
The people that commit the crime, a lot of times they're usually there in the crowd, trying to see what's going on, trying to see what police knows. So later on that morning, the family was actually following the maintenance man, just basically trying to follow his tracks, just to try to see what was going on. And they actually found out where he lived and went to his apartment because they're looking for Miya. They wanted to make sure that Miya wasn't at his apartment, that he didn't have her tied up there or something. So when he got out of his car walking into his apartment, he actually had a gloves, he had a backpack, and he also had a pink sheet, which was very alarming.
The car said he's still in.
Kaylee, sleep it, huh?
What is he doing? What is he taking out?
He's taking out. He has gloves.
He has gloves.
He has gloves
He has
in
gloves.
his hands.
He has gloves.
Gloves and what else?
So the family actually called the police to report what they saw, and then I'm guessing the family just approached them and walked up to him, and then they actually asked him, can they search his apartment? The police officer waited outside while the family searched the apartment because I'm guessing they didn't have a warrant to search his apartment. I mean, you have a pink sheet. That seems like probably caused to me, so you could have went ahead and searched the apartment. But yeah, they waited outside until they obtained a warrant, but the family went inside and searched the apartment, and he actually was open for the family to search the apartment. So on Saturday around 3 p.m., the maintenance guy was actually seen leaving his apartment, and that was actually the last time he was seen alive. So on Sunday the 26th, the detectives actually obtained an arrest warrant for the maintenance guy, but the warrant was actually for burglary since he entered her apartment. It was not for kidnapping. It was not for Miya going missing. It was just for burglary since he used the maintenance fob to go inside Mia's apartment without maintenance request being put in, or basically without permission. So on Monday, September 7th, Seminole County detective actually found the maintenance guy body, and he actually killed himself. At this point, after he killed himself, obviously the little bit of hope that the family had left of finding her, it died slowly, because why would you kill yourself? Like, you don't kill yourself if you're innocent. You don't kill yourself unless you know for a fact that you did something to her. Like, why would you kill yourself? On Tuesday, the family actually started a search party. They had family coming in from out of town, from Canada, from all the way from Trinidad, from the Virgin Islands. They had volunteers, friends, just everyone, people in the community, and also students that actually lived in her building. They were all helping with the search. They would basically do like candlelight ceremony at night, basically so she could follow the candlelight home. So they actually went to work because they're like, something is up. If this guy killed himself, then at this point, it's not good. And they were actually pissed off about that. So the Arden Villas apartment decided to put out a statement at this point because the resident that lives there, they're actually freaked out. Like, they're so scared. They're like, okay, what's going on? So in the statement, they actually said that they did a thorough background check on Armando, the maintenance guy, and he had no criminal record, and he had no sexual assault charges or complaints or anything that was filed against them. They went ahead to reassure the residents to let them know that they're going to be changing up their restrictions and change up the way how they go about maintenance requests to ensure the residents that they will be safe. So on Friday, October 1st, a week after Miya had been reported missing, the Orange County Sheriff Office resumed the search in Smyrna Beach. They had their officers work, and they had independent search and rescue crew that would come in with their cadaver dog. They had the FBI who would assist them and giving them like technology, I'm guessing like drone. And at that point, a $15,000 reward was offered up for anyone who had any information on the whereabouts of Miya. So on October 2nd, a body was found near the Timber Skin condominiums. And then on Tuesday, October 5th, medical examiner confirmed that the body that was found was basically the body of Miya Marcano. The specifics on how she died was not released, but they did release that she was found bound. Like, her hands had tapes around them, her legs had tapes around them, and there were tape covering her mouth. And also she was wearing a jeans, bra, and a robe. And her purse was found close to where she was found. And in her purse had the top that she was wearing. So at this point, the family, they're looking for answers. They feel like the apartment complex should be responsible for Mia's death. And I mean, rightfully so, because Mia's attorney actually says that a lot of parts of the apartment does not have surveillance. And obviously, the maintenance guy knows that. He knows where the blind spots are. And how are you able to kidnap somebody in a broad daylight? The crazy thing is they still don't know whether or not she was alive when he took her, or if he actually killed her in the apartment and then take her away. And the fact that all of this could have occurred in broad daylight is just very reckless. And the family actually wants the apartment to take accountability for this. So they actually put out a petition, which I will link down below so you can sign it, because this is just crazy that the apartment don't want to take blame for what happened when they hired this man. They hired this man, and this isn't the first time that people has complained about him. But not just him. The building is known to just hire creeps or just like weirdos. And I feel like they should have been extra cautious, because this is a building that hosts college students. So obviously you would want to vet all your employees to make sure that they're not, just weirdos, because there's a lot of students that lives here. And the fact that they treated Miya the way they did, it's insane, because not only did Miya live there, but Miya actually worked there. So it's like, that was her place of work. You would think they would treat their fellow employee with more respect than they did. Also, this apparently is not the first incident of the maintenance guy. Apparently, a 23-year-old girl had filed a complaint that a maintenance guy with the same name, Armando, had threw a weight, like a 5-pound weight, through her window. He asked her out on a date, and she basically rejected the date. And he basically threw a weight, a whole dumbbell, through her window, and then threatened her, and then left her a weird, creepy note.
A 5-pound dumbbell comes smashing through a woman's window at the Sable Club Apartments in Longwood. Back in March, she told deputies a maintenance man named Armando recently asked her out. Hours after turning him down, this happened. She didn't know his last name, and the person responsible was never found.
So not because it's not reported about him having any assault or sexual assault encounters, it does not mean that it hasn't happened. Miya had such a bright future ahead of her, and to literally lose her life just because she told somebody no, that's crazy. And the fact that he actually took his own life is just, it's almost like you're never gonna be able to get closure. I hate when stuff like that happens, because it's like, if you're bold enough to take somebody's life, then you better be bold enough to suffer the consequences that comes with that. So the family actually planned to start a foundation in Miya's name, because they want every woman to actually feel safe in their home. The fact that a lot of apartments have a lot of young adults, a lot of teens, a lot of women that's living there without a male presence, and for workers to just be able to access your apartment and then put you in danger, they never want that to happen to anyone else. Because if there's anywhere else that you should feel safe, it should literally be in your house. Alright, so that is all I have for today. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.